Time now to welcome tonight's guests. It's Radio 2's Scott Mills, his husband Sam Vaughan, presenter Jeff Brazier and Baroness Floella Benjamin.
Jeff, Sam, Scott, we're going to be talking all about celebrity race across the world very soon. But Jeff, I have to say, we've been told how excited you are to be sitting on the sofa tonight alongside Floella.
Who wouldn't be? I mean, I grew up watching Play School. I'm 45 odd, so you was literally in your prime, and you were, I don't know, reading us stories and entertaining us. So to see you is quite surreal. It's a nice little moment.
See one of my babies.
I'm one of your babies, yeah. Nobody has said to me for a long time.
My Play School baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Floella, thank you so much for joining us today. And people are so excited because your award-winning book, Coming to England, is coming to the stage across the UK. And this is an incredible story, and it's a real story about your childhood, correct?
That's right, yes. I wrote Coming to England in 1995. And it's read in almost every school in the country.
Wow.
And I wrote the book through the eyes of the child. I could have written it as an adult, but I always felt that anybody who would read the book could see themselves, because childhood lasts a lifetime. And I wanted people to understand the emotions and the traumas that children go through when their lives are happy or when disruptive or when they're having to go from one kind of culture to another, and what that takes for a child to actually maneuver and navigate themselves through that kind of life. And that's what the book is about, is how you can feel as if you're worthy, feel as if you're loved, how you feel you belong, and to know that you are a very special person. So you've got to believe in yourself. That's why when I go into school, I say to children, shout out, I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. Because children need to know that they're loved.
Yeah.
Because love, when you feel you're loved, you can do anything. No matter if people bully you, if people are horrible to you, if you know that you are loved, that's the secret. That's why I say to children, wherever you go and whatever happens to you, there'll always, always, always be somebody who loves you.
Oh, that's
me.
perfect.
I've got like goosebumps sitting here. But tell us a bit more, because you just spoke about how it's played out through a child's perspective. So how does it actually play out on stage?
Well, it's not children going to be playing the parts. They're going to be adults playing the roles of children.
Okay.
So it's quite difficult finding the right people to play the various parts. But I must admit, the talent that we have here in Britain is just phenomenal. It's incredible, because people can sing, people can dance, people can act, people can be emotional, people can be excited, and it's great seeing how the cast have come together. I wasn't choosing them. I didn't want to choose because you wouldn't know who to choose. But the casting director just sent me lots of tapes of people, and I am truly, truly joyful and honoured to have all these actors playing characters in my family and bringing that kind of whole thing to life, to bring it on stage, so that the people watching can actually feel the emotions and feel what it's like to be a child, not quite sure what's going to happen next. Because when you hear your parents argue, you're thinking, it's something to do with me. Is my life going to fall apart? So you hear people arguing when you're left. Many people who've grown up now can remember when they were left behind, putting into a children's home, becoming foster parents. So all these kinds of issues is what the book covers as well. Because I was left behind. I'm one of the left behind children, left behind in the Caribbean, because my parents came to Britain. They were, after the war, wanted people to come and rebuild Britain. So I'm one of the Windrush children who were left behind. And when I created the Windrush Monument, which is now at Waterloo Station, people, when they saw that monument, wept, because they remember the trauma that they had to go through being left behind. And I wanted people to understand what it feels like to be different. Because when I came here, I was treated, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? The question I got asked time and time again. In fact, my autobiography is called What Are You Doing Here? Because I'm still asked that question even today.
And how timely to be sharing the story with recent stuff that's been going on across the UK.
100%. It's so inspirational. And I think, even just your connection with Jeff there that we saw a moment ago, you've been a member of the House of Lords for so many years. But is it right as well, very briefly, a lot of the ministers actually that you work with grew up watching you as well on Play School. Does it make it a little bit easier to get things through on Parliament? It must do. Yeah.
They're my Play School babies.
Yes.
And I say, they say, Lady Benjamin, Lady Benjamin, don't ask me.
They don't want to
and,
upset you.
many a times, I sort of get, because they see how committed I am to children.
Of course.
And how dedicated I've been over the, last 40-odd years, 45 years.
Incredible.
Of doing something that I love. And I've never left children behind. I've always been there for children to make them feel loved and appreciated.
Oh, what a joy to have you on the show. And Coming to England opens on the 13th of September at Swansea Grand Theatre, and we'll be touring across the UK. Tickets, they're on sale now.
OK, and still to come, Scott, Sam and Jeff will be telling us about their epic race across South America. Do we think it went smoothly?
Definitely not. No, I'll let them tell us. But, we were just saying, weren't we, that it must smell amazing.
The little
in
spray,
that
you
film.
said.
Yeah,
every night.
get a little Floella. We were just saying, we both have that little lavender spray for the pillows.
Lavender on my pillow every night.
It's the best. It's the best.
OK, it's just a few hours now until Celebrity Race Across the World is back on our screens. And before we speak to Scott, Sam and Jeff about their epic adventure, let's take a look at them setting off.
I might not look like a natural-born winner. When I was a kid, I was like the last one to be picked at games. I was never sporty, but I do have determination.
I am definitely the risk taker.
That is your middle name.
It's exciting till it all goes wrong.
Oh, wow. Well, as part of this series, you race to complete each leg of the journey, and there's always that tension, isn't there, about who manages to get to the guest book and sign it first. So we thought we'd put you to the test to see who arrived here first at the BBC today. So we put our guest book outside the green room, but who was the winner? OK, let's take a look.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Come on. Ah, these two. Oi, you.
You took your time.
How long you been here?
Oh, a while.
Hey, you're taking the mickey. Put the kettle on.
Very good.
These boys, they're so good.
Yeah.
They are good. To be fair, you do work in a building, so...
Advantage.
Scott had the pass. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, look, we've got 4 pairs this series. Scott and Sam, the newlyweds, Kelly Brook and her husband Jeremy, Ted Lasso actor Colin McKinney, and his cousin Mary Ellen. Jeff, I mean, the big thing for you as well, you're a father of 2 boys, Bobby, who we know from EastEnders, Strictly Come Dancing, but Freddie got the call up on
Absolutely.
this one. Why? What happened?
Natural selection. Right,
Yeah.
I'll tell a story. Honestly, so I remember taking the boys to climb some mountains in Scotland. We had a guide. We wanted to go off the beaten path, and he took us literally up a cliff face. It was torrential rain. Wasn't ideal. We had our waterproofs on, but those were all sort of leaking. And Bobby was literally like hating me after about 2 minutes. Get me down, and the guy was like, quite matter of fact, the only way off is like 7 hours that way. You're going over the top, and Freddie just got on with it. It was like a machine.
Yeah.
So I think ever since then, I'd seen what was really special about Fred, and he has that staying power, that sort of stomach for challenges.
Yeah.
So I knew he'd be good. Plus, he's a quick thinker, and as he just said, he takes lots of risks, which I think you have to have a different way of thinking around things.
Nice.
Natural selection.
Very good.
right
Yes,
there.
I like it. Yeah, good thinking to
Oh,
it.
poor Bob, he's going to be offended about that. Bob would have been a great teammate in so many other respects as well, but Bob's had some wonderful experiences. I was also mindful of the fact that Freddie would really benefit from getting a big life experience under his belt, and no better way than travelling somewhere from afar.
Said like a true football
I know,
manager.
look at that.
Wouldn't it? Why are you starting one player over another?
management.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to keep them all happy.
Yeah.
Scott and Sam, I must say, huge congratulations. You just got married in May. We're going to show more about that and talk about that in a minute as well. But, Scott, I have to say, you said doing this was the ultimate test before tying the knot.
Yeah, because obviously we got married the 1st of June.
Okay.
We did this secretly. I said on radio, it was like, right, I'm off to do some wedding prep, and then disappeared for 5 weeks. So, yeah, we filmed it in March. But, I mean, there's no better test of your relationship because, as you'll see this evening and for the next few weeks, it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, this show throws so much at you. You know, it's really, really tough, as Scott just said. And we had loads of questions. And Ryan has asked this. What was the hardest part of the whole experience?
I mean, you can prepare yourself physically for it, but when we got there, when you go on holidays, you kind of expect people to speak English, and there's tourist people, you know, you can speak to. But when we got there, I think we found out after 5% of the country speak English, so it's hard to find someone that will understand you.
I've never been to anywhere like it, you know, because we're quite lazy, because we're lucky that everyone as a second language would normally speak English wherever you go. That is not the case in Brazil. So we just got dropped in northern Brazil, no phone.
Have you got any Portuguese now?
Obrigada.
Thank you.
Just a little bit. Jeff, I have to say, this isn't your first adventure, is it? Because if we throw back, what was it, 2001, you did Shipwrecked. So this must have been a breeze for you.
No, it wasn't a breeze, actually. It's completely different.
No.
I mean, when you're young, you're naive and you just throw yourself into situations. And
Jeff, look at you there.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So that's me at Freddie's age, literally. But yeah, so I wasn't watching you still at that age, so I'd moved on by then to Transformers and stuff like that. But yeah, I wanted Freddie to have an experience that he could look back on. I think that when you're young, you're meant to have these experiences. That's why people backpack and travel and stuff. And the challenge that we had, it asks you so many questions of yourself in terms of what you can handle, how you cope with stress, how you deal with a language barrier, and all of the other little challenges and hurdles that come along the way. So now for him to have had that experience, that just makes me feel really good.
Didn't you say you've done SAS and that's a hard show, but this was harder?
I've got to be honest, a lot of people laugh at me for that, because how can the SAS experience be slightly easier than this, or how can this be harder? When you're travelling as a couple, it's not for me to speak for you guys, but you can hold each other as you do in life generally when there's ups and downs. When you're father and son, there's still that feeling of responsibility that I'm responsible somehow for how he enjoys his experience, even though obviously I'm not. I'm completely out of control and I'm facing the same challenges as everybody else. So it's an extra pressure that you put on yourself.
I love it, and I also love that. That is a beautiful answer, but Scott only asked that to show off that he's harder than an SAS guard. That's
Yeah.
You go, Scott, tell him how I'm better than this.
Do what we said earlier.
Right, Scott, Sam, you got married after the show. The biggest thing, Scott, as a radio DJ, there's a lot of pressure on who performs. Please reveal the list. Who performed?
Okay, so we had Eurovision's Sam Ryder.
Wow.
Remember, he did a song called Spaceman, did really well
Yeah, did a
at the
little bit.
Eurovision Song Contest.
Just that one.
And then we had
Pixie Lott.
Pixie Lott was in during the ceremony.
Yeah.
She's really quite good.
Yeah.
And then we had Joel Corey DJ.
Wow, what a
And
fun.
also Calvin Harris was there.
Yes.
But I hadn't told Joel because I forgot that Calvin was going to be there. So Joel comes up to me and he's like, well, you could have told me because I've got a DJ in front of Calvin Harris.
That's pressure.
I didn't think about it.
Oh, so a group of unknown artists really trying to break through, just performing at the wedding. Nice.
Just your average one, right? Celebrity Race Across the World starts tonight at 9 o'clock on BBC One and over on the iPlayer.
Yeah. So, Floella, having you here, children's books, I mean, you're the dream guest in this scenario. And we've actually had so many questions come in, so it'd be perfect if you could answer them.
Yeah, let's get right in there with Ollie, Ollie's age 9.
My question is, what makes a good story?
A good story needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Think about it, think all the way through. You can think about the end first and then try and see how you can get to the beginning, but always have those three things in mind: beginning, a middle, and an end.
There you go,
Structure.
Ollie.
Very good, very good. We've also had one in from Amy, age 6.
How does she get such amazing ideas?
How do you get such amazing ideas?
Well, you just look at people around you, maybe your teacher, maybe your mum and dad, your best friends, and look at the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they look at each other, anything like that, and then use that to put them as a character in your story. That's one of the best things to do.
anything around you?
Think real life.
Taking inspiration from everything. And we've got one from Oliver, aged 7.
How do you make up new characters in your story and in your imagination?
Ooh, so it's kind of similar, I guess. How do you make up the characters in your story and in your imagination? So I guess new characters, where do they come from?
Well, you just, when you see a film or you see a play, just kind of use your imagination, close your eyes and think, I'm on the beach. on the moon. What would I do? And just try and imagine, try and get into that wonderful zone and just feel it. And then I always write with pen and paper and let your hand just kind of go across the page, stroke the words across the page. Beautifully done. And speak it out. Yeah. When you speak out, what you're writing, suddenly it comes alive. Oh. And it's a wonderful feeling.
Jeff, I felt like you were closing your eyes. You were on that beach.
Yeah, yeah, it was, really, wasn't it? A big thanks to everyone who sent in a question. We'll have more on the 500 words competition when entries officially open in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, get writing.
Yes.
Start to get creative, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, I think that's actually all we've got time for tonight.
I went to
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. We've got so many questions.
Oh, no.
But look, thank you so much to all of our guests. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Alex. She's been busy filming today in Sheffield at Gladiators.
Really?
Look at her go.
Wow.
Hey, look, she'll tell you all about it tomorrow. We'll also be joined by Elvis Costello, Kwame Kwei-Armah and Tom Davis. Have a fantastic evening.
Have a good evening, everyone.